What up, though? We back again. Life on the Ridge, Uncut. I am your host, the real Coach Carter, also known as Eric Carter. Got my brother with me too.
What's the deal? Johnny Detroit Therapy.
Yep. So first and foremost, before we get into it, we in the month of June, so you know it's Men's Mental Health Month. So shout out to that first and foremost.
Yeah,
you
man.
know, shout out to the brothers who dealing with who dealing with the weight of the world on their shoulders, and dealing with all the emotional imbalances, this, that, and the third, man. So shout out to the brothers.
I wanted to real quick just put some stats on there because as a therapist, you know what I'm saying, we got to give some little bit of light on that.
No doubt.
According to the National Institute of Health, overall in 2022, the suicide rates among males was 22.9 per 100,000, nearly 4 times higher than the rate among females. Age-specific rates, the highest suicide rates among males was observed in those aged 75 and older. Demographics, in 2023, males accounted for nearly 80% of suicide deaths in the United States, despite compromising 50% of the population. Just wanted to give some little bit of light about the just that topic of suicide, because it is something that is very prevalent amongst men. So when you're talking about a men's mental health month, especially in our community, because you know black folk, you know, we come from how we don't do that, you know what I'm saying, but yet sometimes you got brothers that do certain behaviors for that to happen. So they wasn't the one that actually did pull the trigger, but they run up to the guy and you killed me, man. They, you know, all of this. So I just wanted to spend a little bit of time to just, you know, shed some light on that, man. So shout out to the men's mental health. If you guys, any brothers are struggling, we are 2 counselors. So hey, like, subscribe. You know, we got great content. Even though this is the uncut version, we're a little bit more raw and real, but we still gonna have those conversations from that counselor perspective, but just a little bit more, you know.
Just to give it to y'all gritty. But just an extension of that conversation of the suicide. This hat I got on represents actually the suicide hotline as well, the 988. So
please call, man.
Shout out to my brothers at, like I said, Sack the Stigma. Shout out my brothers. Shout out Valiant and shout out Soho Youth Club, man. We do a lot of different work within the atmosphere of sports and just on the ground level that me and John do. So I always want to pay homage to that. You know,
so just like I said, man, if you are struggling, man, you are not alone. You know what I'm saying, man? We understand the struggles of being a man, and it's hard to open up about some things, but just know you're not alone, bro. So like and subscribe. Make sure you keep up with the content, because we're gonna make sure that we create an environment so, you know, it's a safe environment for all, but we looking out for the men, the brothers, man. So shout out to men's mental health. Man, listen. Dog, my mama done went viral, bro.
Shout out Mama Williams,
dog,
man.
I gotta kind of hit on that. Okay, so first, as you, babe,
before we get into the topic, we gotta talk about Mama Williams, man. You know,
my mama done, bro. So before we pull up the video, dog, we at my niece's graduation. Shout out to Nunu. Graduated from Wayne State with a marketing degree. And the girl, man, graduated. I'm super proud of her. And we're sitting there, we're chilling. My mom just sits there. She's chilling out, you know, she's doing her thing. She just said, "You see what your dad bought me?" And then she just goes in her purse.
Hold on, before you do that, just let him see.
Yeah, you got.
Let him go on and see. Let him go and see. Some silly shit.
Put him on. Boy, make sure you keep an eye on all of it.
Ma, let me see the arm. Yeah.
Shout out to Cognac 10 on there too, man.
Man, make sure y'all follow my TikTok. You get to see that on there, man. Johnny Detroit Therapy, feel me? But dog,
Pay homage for all the people that's trying to repost and everything too, man. You got to tag my boy, man.
So much love though. On, you know, I love TikTok. I be on TikTok, but man, it was like 190,000 views, 16,000 likes, and that was like, for one could say, like, my first like viral video, and then it was my mama up in the sticks on me, dog.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
She up the sticks
and you know,
on me.
like, if y'all know anywhere in the world, we from Detroit, so you know that this is a cultural staple,
around
you know,
here,
and every flavor.
That's what we do.
So,
but I put bucks on the, you know, I put the little mom up buck, man. You know, everybody, man, no man, but man, my mama's 76 years old, man. Leave my mama alone, man. She got them, man. She got a ring, man. Man, quit playing with my mama, man. But
what they say, and Big David Yerman.
Yeah,
you know,
she had the David Yerman on. Hey, dog. She said she got the David Yerman kit. Dog, that shit was just fun. But like, you know, too, like, what kind of, not the harbor on it, but like, it kind of opened my mind to see, I can see how they get a little caught up trying to get viral over and over again. And you see, you know what we see. You go on TikTok or Instagram, these viral posts and all that. And it was, you know, your phone is going off. It's like, it was like a rush of, I'm going to talk a little counselor, but like that dopamine rush, like, damn, this is hype. But then like after, it's like, you know how once you get something, it's just like, you know, like it's like you wanted that toy or you wanted that game so bad, but then after you play, it's like, all right, like, what's next? like you know how they chase money. Like, you once you get money, they say, you know, it's not. So it was just,
and it's funny. I saw Lotto say something like that recently, where it's like, I got all the money and everything, and it's like, it's boring.
It's boring. So it's kind of like, I looked at it like, I can see how people get caught up in that chase, and that's dangerous if you ain't got, you know, self-esteem issues, or, you know what I'm saying, you're seeking validation or on from the internet, you know what I'm saying. So I truly see, and you know, some of these content guys chasing that viral moment, you know what I'm saying, then doing something crazy and or stupid to get that viral moment. And remember, we said addiction is not just dope in the bottle.
No, it can be, like you said, chasing that
attention,
that attention bug. And
attention, bro, this shit can get. So it was just very interesting experiencing that. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, bro, shout out to TikTok, man. My mama, man, went viral, dog. So today,
what we talking about, man?
You know I be on TikTok, man, all right? And a very interesting conversation that brother Deante Kyle.
Shout out Deante Kyle and the Grits and Eggs podcast.
You know, Grits and Eggs podcast. You know, shout out to them.
Doing their thing, man.
Hey, man, first, before we even get on this, shout out to him.
Yeah.
And
for opening up the conversations, too.
Hey, bro, you know, man, once they start hating on you, you doing something right, man. So, you know, you getting this highlight, you getting this love. Of course, they going to start looking for ways to hate on you. You know what I'm saying? So, shout out to you, bro. That's from me to you, Deante Kyle. But he had a clip up, which brings me to today's topic, so to speak, going off men's mental health, male accountability. All right. And let's before we dive in here, let's pull up the clip what Deante said that had the whole the what did they call it, the manosphere, and it was a debate. It was very interesting. Let's pull this up and let's take a look at what the brother said.
You may not harass women. You may know how to take rejection. The majority of men that most women deal with do not. Yeah. And you are accountable for that as well. Because I don't got time to figure out which white people are nice, which white people aren't racist, or da-da-da-da-da. I have to go on the actions of the group. Right. The group as a whole and the history of that group as a whole tells me that they are a danger to me and they are not to be trusted. Right. And if you can understand that as a black man and your stance towards white people, then you should absolutely be able to understand women's stance towards you. It's not a war on you waged by women. Actually, the war get a little thicker when we start talking about it from the perspective of a woman and the greater society of racism and white supremacy being waged against black people. And then the patriarchal society being waged against women. So they have to deal with two elements. One of those elements we don't have to think about. And honestly, we're perpetuated. Mm-hmm. And it's perpetuated against us young to look at women as objects.
Right.
You know, to look at women only through the lens of a sexual desire and not as the human being that they are. And when you understand how to deal with women on a human level, you understand how much women will enrich your life.
Mm. Amen. Amen.
You want to turn it up a notch?
Yeah.
Get you a good woman get you a good black woman in your corner.
Amen.
Hey man, you want to see your life turn up?
Hey.
And see, this is the thing though. It's a privilege, bro. It's a privilege. You know what I'm saying? We often disregard the power of our black women. The spiritual essence that they're gonna bring to things. The knowing, the seeing, you know what I'm saying? Also too, imagine it. They have to be hyper vigilant because they have to be constantly scanning the room, making sure that they're in a safe situation.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? When we think about these kids who were clearly in Louisiana having the time of their fucking life because they graduated, and we think about white people's reaction to Black joy.
Oh yeah, that's
it's not about civility. It's not about decorum. They don't like to see us happy.
That's what it is.
Now, how often are women just having a good time, and here come a nigga trying to ruin their fun?
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. You can call it pandering, but if I was up here caping for white women, you wouldn't even mention it.
All right, so there was a lot that he said in that. All right, and my first question to you, E. I mean, what do you feel by what he said? Like, and from hearing that complete clip.
And that was my first, and I'm gonna say this was a real reaction for me because I didn't listen to the full clip in full essence to what he stated. And what I seen was somebody that understands from a male perspective, like you said, how to appreciate our women without the over-sexualization of them. And a lot of our men haven't been taught to actually learn how to be that, specifically from the city that I'm from.
Just respecting women.
Detroit,
you know
like it's like you can put cheese on the bitch head. You do this. It's like you tricking bitches out. Like this come with the game when you hear it. And it's like if you're not doing anything else than that, you looked at as a square, ham, lame, burger, all corn. You all of that. So the pandering thing is like, for me, from the lenses that I see, I don't necessarily look at it as pandering because it's a perspective that goes against what we have taught, what we've been programmed to believe. Right. So I think that's a sentiment that I share. Like I've grown up with women, real strong women with matriarchs and real women that can sit and you have those conversations. And my older cousins, I grew up with older cousins that was 10, 12 years older than me. So understanding and seeing women from different perspectives I got first cousins that's in their 60s. I got like the spectrum of family and members of women that I have in my family. It varies so much where I got so much glimpse of women from each generation.
Right.
So for me, my vantage point is going to be a little bit different when it's looking at how to operate and manage women. I got my great grandmother is still alive and she like an oracle to me. So seeing the power of that intuition in real time, right, and getting certain game for me is gonna be different. And I love to take, honestly. You know, I think, like I say again, I open up the floor and say I thank Deante Kyle just for opening up the conversation for us to bring it not only from Atlanta but to the D. Because I think that's an important perspective moving forward for the next 7 generations. Like we got to really understand, like that's powerful when you can bring our women together and really have certain conversations and see them as who they are. So
I think
thank you for asking me that too, though.
Yeah, man, it's that's a lot to unpack. Cause like, it is. Like, because you know, first when it comes down to the man and woman conversations, you know how I feel. You're starting to talk about relationships and things like that, but in the context of what he's speaking about, like, bruh, niggas be wildin'. Some of the shit that if you talk to,
I was wildin' too though, so I'm not gonna sit up here and say it like I ain't had my times now.
What we're not gonna do is no one is perfect. I'm not sitting here saying that man, y'all niggas out cold. Listen, we're more saying like, first off, I'm a married man now. I have a daughter. And I've grown older. I'm a therapist and I'm a business owner, and I'm becoming the leader in my family. So when I look back at the culture of things like going out to the club and all that, niggas is not about to sit up here and act like niggas don't be wild and like let's not sit up here and not act like we ain't seen shit in the club where it is predominantly niggas doing it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, now where I believe where people got upset at was the part where he said that you have to take accountability for that. Now, I think brother Deante could have, maybe I say it carefully, but when you say you got to take accountability for that, so like, so that's where the discourse comes. I'm taking accountability.
What is your discourse with that statement, and why what are your feelings and thoughts?
Because for me, it's I look at things like a duality. I do look at things in dual. Okay, so from one angle, I'm taking accountability for that. You're saying I'm taking accountability for the action that another nigga did. Why am I gonna take accountability for what this nigga did across the country to another woman? Like, I'm just I'm
gonna let you get your thought across. Go ahead.
That's my one thought. But then I just had a comment about we be in the club and niggas be wild and niggas be doing things. We're seeing things what niggas are doing, and okay, so when you say accountability, if I had partook in any type of culture that has harmed women from actions, culture, whatever, you got to take accountability from that. You get what I'm trying to say? You get what I'm trying to say with that?
No, I get what he's saying. I'm
trying to word it a little bit to make it, because
you got to say it like how you feel it though. Like, you got to say it
but I'm just trying to, like, if you know, that's a very complex conversation. And I think some people, want one thing too: a hit dog, a holler. All right, so you know, people get all stirred up by something. Hey man, don't wear the shoe if it don't fit, dog. You know what I'm saying? But then looking closer into what he's saying, I don't have to worry about going to a gas station at night. That if I am, I'm worried about a nigga trying to rob me maybe, but I ain't worried about a nigga trying to take me to the back of a lot and leave me for dead. I'm not worried about someone, you know, physically beating the literal shit. You know, I'm just saying, like, this is a complex conversation, and I do think that men have to have the conversation of within ourselves. How are we moving when it comes down to our women? And I was gonna say that's how I took the clip. Essentially, it's like, how do you operate around the women is important for all of the males I want around me. It's like, you can't be around here. What they say, you scaring the hoe. Yeah. No, and I'm saying that's a term. That's a term that, you know, that doing too much. Yeah, all over the place. Don't know how to conduct. You don't know how to conduct yourself when you are around women and making them uncomfortable. Like, you know, and it's like, that is a real thing. Like you're saying, I looked at it from that point of view, where it's like, if all of the men conduct themselves, then all of the women can be comfortable to be who they are, because they know all of these men around is gonna make sure they safe, they get home, you good. You know what I'm saying? We want to be here and have a good time. So when you look at the full spectrum, when you say the club, who is the club promoters? Like, what are they promoting when you go in there? What we dressing like? How we operating? All of these things are a factor to the mood of the situation you in. Right. I think just in a more grand scale, this is making men have to have a, because
it's a harsh conversation to have, but it's necessary, bro.
I know the niggas that he talking to though. See, that's the thing. You know, like I feel like when people make, you know, like Deante, I know who he talking about.
If we come from the community we come from, we all know the niggas that be we talking. We know that. So it's like, can we not hold them accountable for that? I got sisters. I got a daughter. So it's like, as I grow in certain stuff, you want your daughter to be around, have some, you know.
You know what? Now real time. I have this to say about what my first comment was this, about the accountability piece. And I'm about to go as a clinician. I'm a certified clinical supervisor in development, so I know what I'm talking about. As a man, a male therapist, I'm assigned or I'm overlooking a female case, okay? Female case, we're in the city, so I deal with all types of issues. Human trafficking,
yes.
All right, severe amounts of sexual trauma, tampered with since childhood, all of that, all perpetuated by men since her early years. Now, the assessment, you review the assessment, you see the documents, you see what is said based on what said client has been through, correct? So now it's on me to, who do I assign this client to? Is it wise to assign her to a man? Or maybe will I get a better response in the beginning portion of this to assign her to a woman to be able to tackle at least. Now, I'm not saying the man can never work with her, because some women clients need actually to hear a male perspective, and then also representation matters sometimes for women that even men have a woman wounds, and I just want to work with a male, I just want to work with, but no, you need this perspective. But in the beginning, day one, you know where we work at. We talking treatment. She in treatment. She day one out of the streets. Yeah. Let me give her to a female counselor just for the time being, and then as times transition, if she finds a male counselor in the program that she has gained therapeutic rapport with, then fine. I have been able to identify this is going to be okay for her. But clinically, my mind, understanding cultural competence, all these dynamics that she's dealing with, to make the best decision therapeutically for her, I'm gonna assign her to a woman. And you know what I'm saying?
You spot on, bro. And it's like,
that's where my mind, that's where I'm. So the
accountability, and when you outside of the treatment setting, the guys that they dealing with don't have the level of competency to understand these things when you're dealing with women. You know what I'm saying? The traumas that they've been through sexually, or what they still going through, or how they, they don't even believe a man can look at them and actually have an honest conversation. You think I'm trying to flirt with you, and I'm really just trying to assess and see how you doing. You know what I'm saying? Like that, bro. I'm a attractive brother. There's women that come up to me all day, but it's like I don't let the conversation or my movement sway me from still having the understanding and competency to talk to you as a human.
You feel me?
You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't let that, no matter how beautiful you are as a person, how you look, it's like I can still have the competency to talk to you. Man, that's a struggle though, that a lot of people can't comprehend.
And I think that's why I just appreciate that social work perspective, because it's case by case. I look at the person. Yes. I don't really group in together. Now there are some. So
what he said about the white comments, I do feel. I do, and I'm gonna say this specifically. Although I understand what he's saying on a broader level of not finding out who's racist or who not. It's like, out of my experience in my life, there are a lot of people who done stuff for me that didn't look like me, that were white. Oh yeah, that really put real work in and really actually care. So I can't
group them together.
And no matter what the masses or certain things, some people developed and grew in certain situations or environments where they wasn't standing for that. Man, you see what I'm saying? So respectfully, I gotta just decline that part just based off my life, based off where I'm from. He from the South though, so you know what I'm saying. It's a different temperament, and obviously you got all of these, people up here in the North where they can smile in your face, stab you in the back, this, that, and the third. I understand all those concepts, but for the most part, like I say, it is white people that have done grave amounts of great work in my life and continue to do great work, that I have great relationships and that value me as a person. Because that's how I respect myself first and foremost. So you can't address me no other way.
With that point, I think too, what I try not to do, and then it goes into social work, and that's why if you get trained, because it's implicit bias.
Yeah.
And you got to be careful, and I believe black people need to be careful with that too. I'm from the school, two wrongs don't make it right. All right, so I get the history, I get all that, but I'm not gonna. I guess I'm gonna know the landscape that I'm in, but to make, like what you said, for him to say something like that, like I'm just not gonna deal, because
that's his prerogative though. He can feel like that and operate like
I'm
that.
Gonna keep it a beam with you. When I'm in the city in certain areas, I'm more worried about a nigga running up on me. Nigga trying to rob me, man. You on Mac and something? I'm on the east side, dog.
Hey man, don't do the east side like that. What we not gonna do? What we not gonna do is act like we don't work on Finkel. That's what we not gonna do. Ain't gonna just bring the east side up every time something go wrong. Like the West ain't got a lot of shit going on.
The West been tripping, man, trying to take out Skilla, man. That's some fuck.
Shout out to Skilla too, man.
Shout out to Skilla.
That's like family, man. Shout out to Skilla and his family.
Dog ass intro. That shit was hard.
Shout out Skilla, bro.
Man.
Continuing to be an advocate for the community, even though he going through what he going through, still putting on for the city, man. Gotta respect a brother like that. Shout out
to Skilla for that, man. He came out. That shit was hard, bro.
Yeah, that gave you goosebumps, bro.
He had to. Man, I was like, go crazy. So, but yeah, dog. I ain't gonna put it all on the east side, dog. I be on, man. I
gotta check everybody who try to hit the east side over the head like that, man. Hey, you gotta know the real meaning and the history, man. Come on now.
Nah, shout out to the east though, man. I love, man, the east side, man. I grew, man. I basically, since 2018, I know that Warren don't, but moving over to just that whole area.
That's where you got your wings, man. That's where you got your wings at, man.
Just understanding the east side, how it works, and also just housing market wise, man. Hey, you can't beat it. You can't beat it. Well, that you know. But let's back to the Deante piece. I wanna. There's a clip of a brother that had I think he's from the city too.
A rebuttal.
He had a rebuttal about, and that kind of I think grouped in the male, the disdain or dislike of what he was saying. We're gonna have that pull up in a second, but I think I like that it sparked conversation. That's what I'm saying. I think, and for men too, you know how we get. Sometimes you got to test some temperature. You got to check.
I believe in no conversation you're supposed to agree with everything anybody says. You know what I'm saying?
It's supposed to not gonna be right every time. Like I know.
Nah, but go ahead. Let's play the clip, man. I want to hear what he said.
Niggas like Deante Kyle, Derek Jackson, Conscious Lee, you're never gonna see them talking negatively about black women. You always gonna see them stand on a pandering ass shit. Why? Black women is putting money in their pockets. And we all know black women, the easiest thing to do in every culture on the planet, the easiest person to trick into getting your money is a black woman. All you gotta do is tell them what they wanna hear. Oh, black women is always wrong. Black men is terrible to black women, and black women deserve the world. Oh my God, here, what do you have? Support your money. Let me support whatever you got going on. Take my money. Not knowing you are racist. You can't stand their hair. You think they loud and belligerent, all that shit. They so easy to lie to and trick. You're never gonna see them niggas like that, the creators I just named, and niggas like them who are adjacent to them, ever talk negatively about black women. Women are in the workforce now. Their dollar and their thoughts matter. And that's all they care about is having a voice heard. They don't give a fuck about changing problems. They just want to talk about shit. And if you coincide with that and co-sign with that shit, they're going to put money in your pocket. So if you a nigga that stand on shit and like, no, you was wrong on that, you never going to have the support of black women if you tell the truth.
All right, Mr. Woods 7. I think he's from the city too. Yeah, I think he's from the city too. So shout out to bro.
Again, that's my first time seeing that full clip. I haven't watched that full clip. So,
but that's real raw. Real raw.
Can I get a real reaction?
Yeah. What do you think?
When you boil down content and rolling out content, he has a point. Mm-hmm. But I think he still threw some more fuel on the fire as far as separation of trying to go against the women. It's like I think for the most part Deante Kyle got a good grip of understanding how to articulate what he's saying and standing up for the women, but I didn't look at it as pandering to the point where it's just like they never wrong. Right. I think we was talking about male accountability. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That was the topic of discussion. So I think I didn't look at it as pandering, but I understand bro perspective too. I understand bro perspective of what he's saying as far as once you can get the women on your side, you know you don't want to like, quote unquote let them down or be honest with them. But I didn't feel that was necessarily what he was doing.
I'm taking Deante Kyle out of this pandering side first. I'm gonna hit on that, but I'm gonna hit on what bro is saying. He ain't all the way off.
That's why I say he wasn't wrong. I ain't saying he wrong at all.
Wrong now because we have seen the Derek Jacksons of the world. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. We've seen these situations where these guys, and I'm going to be 100, I'm scrolling through, you're seeing the wild shit that they saying like, bro, you really, nigga, you do not, nigga, why you lying? And you can feel the pandering through the phone, like you're just trying to get you're trying to get the views up.
Yeah.
And the issue that I have with that is I grew up in a household of harmony. It was the man and woman together. My parents were married. They've been married over 30, 40 years at this point. And what I'm saying by that is I haven't grown up watching divide. I grown up watching the strengths that what each brings to the table.
So based on that clip you just saw, what was the temperament? You think that was a tool to divide? The last clip, the clip we just watched. Was that a means to divide the situation or to really enhance or bring awareness?
What I'll say is this: I can't speak on what his true intention is, but what I will say is, men are tired of there is a lot of content that beat down on niggas, on men. Like you have to be honest about that. And I, as a man, when I'm scrolling, there's this sense that you are you ain't shit, you the enemy, and this has been the niggas ain't shit conversation. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like niggas ain't getting pumped 24/7 bad content that speaks ill about them. Mm-hmm. You broke, you ain't got this. If you ain't got this, I just saw a video of a girl no older than 23 told her 20-year-old boyfriend that he needs to be established. What fucking 20-year-old is established? 20 years old?
Yeah.
Niggas gotta be established at 20?
Yeah, you ain't even wipe the crust out your eye. Got the Similac off your breath.
Bro, honestly, like successful people, they say honestly the 40s are the best years of your life, like my life, because that's when I had money, I was established, I was 40.
Yeah,
you're telling a 20-year-old he has to be who've
been a kid more than they've been an adult.
More than but then you see the music. Niggas ain't got no money, he ain't worth nothing. It subjects us to all we're good for is cash and sex. That's all we're good for. And
honestly, the values, everything that they telling us to value ain't even really valuable.
Yeah. but they
the shit that they screaming that's of high value is really not even high value.
But niggas are tired, and I will say this: men are tired of damn, you ain't got nothing positive to say about me. Mm-hmm. Damn, like.
Remember, you said you believe in duality too, though. So I'm gonna challenge you that, like, right. From the women's standpoint, they probably feel the same shit,
man. And
you know what I'm saying? Like, on the same breath where we can speak on us,
hurt people.
On the same perspective where we can speak on us, shit. They saying they got cash, they uproll on you now. Mm-hmm. They uproll on you now, and you ain't and. Just to
And
see,
when
you see how I feel now.
And you led with that for so many years, and then when we talk about you leaving the home, you're not taking care of your children and all of that, but then there's another angle of where you keeping the child from him.
And like you said, I'm not interested in fighting fire with fire.
Yeah.
I believe in true harmony, and most people don't believe true harmony exists. But like you said, you've been raised in true harmony. I've seen it exist.
I guess what gets to me is I hate seeing, and that's where we get back to this is by design, but I hate seeing that it's just such a the divide and conquer is just gotta be man versus woman or black versus this or this.
Somebody taught you that spirit. That ain't natural. That you coming to try to be at odds with somebody. Man,
I'm gonna be 100 with you, and my wife going honestly, my wife is one of the best things that happened for me. My life. What Deante is saying. When you actually, equally yoked and you work to, have a honest, genuine connection. All jokes aside, we do not have the perfect marriage. We still trying to figure this thing out. We got all these kids. I swear we're not perfect. So don't come up to me trying to, Johnny, tell me, hey, listen, I'm trying to learn my doggone self.
And I think that's the fairy tale that the media teach us, that all of these relationships is just on a high.
No,
you on a high forever. You on a cloud, and it's like that's not real life. Like we got to get out the damsel in distress attitude and all of that. That's not real life.
Like my wife has given me a sense of family, a sense of purpose. She, like even the little things, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes it can sound like a nag here and there, you know what I'm saying? But, she keep me on my toes, and that's what I appreciate her for, And
when you wanted to continue to get challenged so you can be better, though?
Yeah, and that's the piece, you know what I'm saying? And trust me, you met Jazz gonna challenge you.
Oh, no, she gonna say exactly.
She gonna say exactly on the floor. But honestly, to his point, and that's what makes me... on the topic of black family, how are we going to be together if we at odds? And how are black babies and families and then how you going to make generational wealth if you ain't got the family to hold the generational wealth?
That's very true.
That don't even make sense.
That's a point that
everybody getting up here saying I want generational wealth for what fucking family?
You ain't got no kids, you ain't built no foundation to stand on.
But there's no family, and from a perspective of actually living, you know what I'm saying? Where my dad, you got my grandfather to my father to me, and then I'm looking at to my sons. You have to have a unit to pass that lineage down. You don't just die and then the money just gonna fall in the kid's account and they gonna blow it. Yeah, they're gonna blow it. It's over. They don't got no literacy. They don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to invest it. They don't know how to manage it because it wasn't taught. It's a lifestyle,
and that's something. And I'm gonna stress for people that don't have the solid foundation that do want to create families. You have to seek that in somebody that already has that or know how to do that. And if you're not seeking that, you can't expect that. You gotta pay dues, man. And it's like, and I know this is a little off topic. Well, not really off topic, but from a male perspective, I took the initiative to talk to as many elders on both sides of my family as possible. Because the more understanding I can get from each elder, I can pour into myself and pour into generations underneath me. Right. If don't nobody else preserve the history from the actual people that was there, what are we doing? Right. Right. No, and it's like it's a war on old and young.
It's really, I believe, it's a war on the family, the nuclear family, and that's what it is. Everybody talking about is a war on a specific group. I really believe it's a war on the nuclear family. If I'm at odds with the woman, I'm so busy wanting to say that women ain't this, and then if the woman is so busy telling me, we are on here arguing all day long. Where is there going to be room where you're going to want to...
And then the algorithm going to keep putting it on your feed. As long as you're watching it, you're going to keep seeing it.
I'm going to take it even a little bit further. Pumping information like that and we talk about male accountability too, you're creating a disdain for your other half. You know what I'm saying? So why would I protect that bitch? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm hearing people say shit like, I'm gonna be 100. Even back then, like when niggas said like words like that, like it's out cold to call a woman. Like you out cold to call a woman that. And I always kind of stood on that. Like you don't like normally. I'm talking about them niggas just normally call them.
It's a force of nature.
Like out their name. You know what I'm saying? And when you have this type of content pumping, bro, we said in one of the episodes, first thing they can do is wake up, when we brush his teeth, he on the phone swiping. First thing he doing.
And we seeing rare mental conditions being created that we haven't even seen before.
You know what I'm saying?
Like as from a therapeutic level, like you said, like we it's certain conditions we haven't even seen that we gonna be having to operate from. So from the male accountability standpoint, it's like we have to be aware of these things to know how they deviating and trying to create division amongst yourself. You know what I'm saying? You really
want to know something? I can really take it there, especially from a therapeutic standpoint.
Go ahead.
A lot of niggas got mother wounds.
Yeah.
A lot of dudes got issues with their mama
that ain't really had them conversations with their mama. I'm gonna be honest. Like I had mother wounds. I'm gonna be real. But the thing is, I've stood tall, and I've developed that relationship with my mother by challenging her and her continue to challenge me. It's like it's something that you gotta want to do.
Wow.
That's something that I want. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a daughter, and it's like my mama ain't the toughest cookie to get through. She real hard nosed pit bull gangster. And it's like you're gonna have to see me from this, not your baby no more, but from this vantage point I'm at right now. And you gotta respect that.
That's a share, bro.
But it's real, and but it ain't just happened overnight. These are years worth of conversations and breakthroughs and elders talking. It's like it ain't an easy task. You got to pay your dues. When it come to anything that you want, you got to pay your dues as far as the respect for your elders. You got to understand them and learn them and grow.
And know they are human too.
I took the thing is the biggest thing that I want to tell anybody out there dealing with their parents or have troubles with their parents, you have to take them off that pedestal of your parent and look at them as people that struggle with things just like anybody else.
And
I despise. I'm sorry, bro, but I really despise when people talk down or against their parents. Like I really have a disdain for that, because it ain't nothing. If you gonna talk down in front of your parents in front of me, I don't stand a motherfucking chance.
That is true.
I don't stand a chance in your world if you talk down on your people. And that's something that my grandfather really taught me. I don't even really want to discuss my people problems in front of other people, because that's gonna give you the jurisdiction and
you think you can
say something down on them, and that's gonna be an automatic red flag.
Right.
So I don't even want to give you the jurisdiction to think you got the authority to say nothing about them, because that's family business.
No, stand on that shit. And then, but real talk though,
I had to get that out there.
Nah.
No, because that's important, bro. I speak to my elders daily, that's bro. I really love my elders, and for a lot of time, I feel I had a disconnection with a lot of my family, bro. It's like you notice your family, but you ain't spending that quality time to build a certain foundation with them, and I always wanted to know why. You know what I'm saying?
But then if you look at society, though, and then this where society, and I think I'm speaking from my male mind, a man's mind, because women do catch hell for their mothering. You know what I'm saying? Like they catch hell, but I haven't. I can only speak as a man on this one, so I'm not trying to say whose is more important than the other. All right, so don't try to. But
all roles are pivotal.
But the mother wound, a lot of times it's you don't talk about mama. Dad, man, he was a Rolling Stone, he was this and that, but talking about mama, and some of the things that she done, because some brothers have watched mama have multiple men coming in and out. Mama get hit on. Mama, we got special words for some of the stuff that mama doing too. You know what I'm saying? In our culture, in the city, you feel me? And when you got little boys and little girls, watching that, growing up with that, You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to talk down on anybody's chosen lifestyle. However, our lifestyles comes with pros and cons. And if you live a certain lifestyle that brings you more cons than, good, the bad than good, that's between you and your higher power. But my point is, when we bring children into the world, into our lives, and we're living a certain way, mama, we got the mamas that smoke weed all day long, don't do nothing, don't go to work. Have the man come in, she do whatever she do to get a couple dollars out of him.
Collect the check off the child for the rest, you know what I'm saying?
Child. We do have the mothers that do keep children away. The bitter baby mother is a thing. These are realities that men are seeing, and I think that men, I'm just speaking maybe for the popular, I don't know, I think men feel unseen about it. But also, I think we're in an era that men are speaking up more.
No, we've developed more emotionally, and
we're in an era we're speaking up more, but unfortunately, you got the guys with the dumbass ideas.
And you know what's funny about that?
Too,
the more you speak up and the more you grow emotionally, now a lot of the women say you sassy.
Yeah,
you too sassy for me. I think that's hilarious. It's always going to be a double-edged sword when you can articulate yourself and kind of express how you feel emotionally. Like that's not a thing that men from eras that my grandfather was born in 1950, bro.
Right.
You think he was emotional? That's what I'm saying. So and that's what I'm saying. Not my great grandfather. Clarification. My grandfather. World War II. Like really in the field, real black bottom soldier, East Side original. So
shout out to Black Bottom.
Yeah, man. So it's like if I'm learning from him, he not gonna cut me no slack or ain't no emotional. Get your ass out there and go do it. Like
my
that's
dad was like that even back then when I was.
They fathers didn't have that level of.
Man,
I don't even know if I'm gonna come back from this war, so I gotta populate as many women as I can and just to make sure that we gonna sustain and see another day as a family.
We ain't in that
mindset to think like that. So how can we judge another era based off they ways when we ain't grow to understand that era?
No, real shit. And I think too, a little bit paying the price for the previous generation's mistakes, but frankly speaking, if we really want to go all the way on a macro scale point between welfare and what the United States government did to the black man in the nuclear family back in the 60s,
man, talk about
historically speaking, they disrupted our nuclear family. This has roots back then, you know what I'm saying? So then when you go into the crime, the crime bill, which you got loads of black men being arrested for that crack cocaine piece and all of, if you had crack cocaine, you're going to prison for this and that. And then you have loads of men in the community in prison, out of the community, and now the women have to hold down the village, and then years of that is going on. Now the woman is dealing with trauma based on that, and now this is a web of history and generational trauma and historical trauma that we are now in the age.
We at the golden age of now. We can have those conversations and actually rebuild. And I think it's a golden age for each era. I'm gonna keep screaming it from the mountaintops, because it's like to even have this conversation and speak on the history and know the history and knowing that we can really change it at a moment's notice based off the work we doing daily. Like we living the dream.
Real talk, man. But I think to the episode up, I think that Deante, you opened up a conversation, bro. And I think that men having this conversation, whether we disagree or not, I'm from the school. My father used to tell me disagreement's healthy.
It is.
It's a good thing to
conflict
disagree.
Is healthy.
It's good to, I'm not supposed to see eye to eye with you all the time. But I just want us to remain the village, remain a community. You know what I'm saying? We can disagree, but we still have to stay a unit, And, with TikTok and social media, that's not going to happen all the way thoroughly.
Yeah.
But, I do think that men do have to have a conversation. I think we have to reflect on the things that we've done.
Perspective matters, bro. Everybody perspective matters on the case because, you know, the more perspective we got, the more options we can pull from to solve the issue.
But and my last piece is, we love our mothers, our daughters, our sisters, our cousins, and all that, and they have to interact with the world. And I can almost guarantee you they have a story about what a nigga did. So if you can have empathy for that woman, why can't you have that empathy for that girl that made that comment on TikTok or something like that?
That's very true.
If you can do that for your mama, your cousin, if somebody, your sister walked in and said something happened to me, you be ready to shoot the club up over her. So we need to start doing that for all our women in the community, man. So want to appreciate you guys for hopping on and watching us. Make sure you definitely subscribe. Go ahead and put your comments. If you agree, disagree, hey man, let's see those comments.
Let's open up some more conversations on moving forward. So
feel me?
On whatever y'all want to talk about.
Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe.
Peace out.